ovarian cyst ruptures are very, very common. And I had no idea that they were so common and happening to so many women, something that is actually very preventable. But the way that women are treating our bodies nowadays, not because we mean to, but because society's like, eat less, you'll lose weight. Do more, you'll lose weight. Work out more, you'll lose weight. Learning how to live with your cycle, with the rules of your cycle, it's just gonna help you have more energy, just be a happier person and be able to achieve more in your life.
Today, I'm psyched to introduce my friend Monique, and she's a passionate advocate and expert in women's health, hormones, and the beautiful, often overlooked wisdom of our menstrual cycles. We're diving deep here into how understanding and honoring your body's natural rhythms can transform not just your health, but your entire lifestyle. From hormonal shifts to energy flow, Monique is here to guide us through integrating this knowledge into everyday life so that we can thrive, not just survive. So whether you're curious about hormone health, battling fatigue, burnout, or simply want to tune in more to your body, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Thank you so much for coming on. Monique is a good friend of mine, also from the States here in Bali.
Represent.
And she is actually teaching fitness through the hormonal lens.
Yes.
Coming from a crazy experience. So tell me how you got started in this.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a women's hormonal health and fitness coach, and I did start off just with personal training for most of my career as a coach. And then I moved to Bali, and I was realizing that I was looking more at fitness towards a hormonal and like holistic lens, more about nutrition, more about, taking things away from tracking macros, less of that like rigid structure and more about like fitness from like a natural standpoint. And then I actually had a severe ruptured ovarian cyst in April, which was really scary. And if no one knows what that is, that's your cysts on your ovaries. They help you produce and release an egg every month. So when your hormones are imbalanced, one of these cysts can grow too large. And instead of it releasing the egg, it actually ruptures and causes internal bleeding inside of you, which is extremely painful. You get really bad cramps. It makes you basically feel like you're in labor. I had no idea what was going on, and I just was all four on the floor in my bathroom, like throwing up and having extreme cramps. And I had no idea what to do. I hit my head on the ground, I passed out, I fainted, my blood pressure dropped super low, and I ended up in the hospital for 3 days. Yeah, in Bali too. So
I was gonna say,
super scary, and like I didn't know what was going on, and that was the scariest part about it, because it was my body, and I felt so out of control, out of touch with my body. I felt like I had betrayed myself in a way, because here I am thinking I'm a fitness coach, I'm so healthy, and then this happens to me. And I'm like, what am I doing? What have I done wrong? I thought I was like, I am eating healthy, I am working out, I am exercising, like what's going on here? And then I had to look at my hormonal health and realize that I had an estrogen dominance, I had gut health problems, and this manifested in my body as the cyst lived in an environment where it could grow super large because I had way too much estrogen. My cortisol was way too high. And yeah, I had a cyst rupture. And but that took 2 weeks for me to figure out what it was and why, especially being in Bali. I had to jump through hoops. There was language barriers. I had to go to a gynecologist. So much shit was going on. And I started posting about this on my social media and talking to other women. And it turns out ovarian cyst ruptures are very, very common. And I had no idea that they were so common and happening to so many women, something that is actually very preventable. But the way that women are treating our bodies nowadays, not because we mean to, but because society's like, eat less, you'll lose weight. Do more, you'll lose weight. Work out more, you'll lose weight. Yeah? Don't want to be thick. You don't want to be you don't want to have excess fat in you. You want to look a certain way. So you need to eat less because you're a lady. And that just puts you in a state of always doing more, and never chilling. Your cortisol never comes back down. Your body can't produce enough progesterone. You have an estrogen dominance. And then you get an environment in your body, like an atmosphere. A hormonal atmosphere is a good way to explain it, in which your hormones are so out of whack that things start to go bad. Yeah. Cysts can grow super large because there's nothing telling that cyst to go back down, to go away.
All right, let's back this up here for people that don't understand anything about hormones or the cycle. So let's talk super simple.
Okay.
For me even, I know nothing. All I know is every 28 to 29 days, I get my period. And I know there's 4 phases,
Yep.
but if you can walk us through that, I think that would really help.
Yes, it would absolutely. Okay, so you're on the right track here with knowing that 28 days is what we've been told. But honestly, I've found through working with women that most women's cycles can average from 26 up to 32, sometimes 35 days. So it's really important to understand that each woman's body is different. So your cycle length and my cycle length are going to be different. Mine is 29 days. I'm very on point with tracking it. You can just use any tracking app. I use like the Stardust app. That's super helpful for becoming more intuitive and aware of your cycle, okay? So mine's 29 days. So that means on day 1 of my cycle, that's when you start bleeding, yeah? So from day 1 to about day 4 or day 5, each woman will bleed for a different amount of time. And that is when your hormones are at the lowest point.
And let's talk hormones here. So the hormones that matter for women are?
Our primary sex hormones are going to be estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone.
Okay, great. What is estrogen?
Okay, so estrogen helps you create an egg in your ovary. It's going to help release that egg from the ovary. So the egg is going to move from your ovary down through the fallopian tube into the uterus, and that's when your ovulation window happens and a sperm can come and fertilize the egg.
So it's all about creation.
It's all about creation. They're all connected. So this is important to know. We have, the 28 to 30 day cycle. Men have a 24-hour testosterone clock. Their primary sex hormone, there's just one, and it's testosterone. So 24 hours, a daily cycle for men. For women, we have a whole month-long cycle because we have a more complex system. We have a womb. We have the ability, we have the responsibility, we have the privilege of creating life within us, of growing life. And that, it's amazing, it's awesome. But with that responsibility comes complexity. Yeah. So this is why when we approach training, it's got to be a little bit different than men because we have these hormones that each phase of our cycle, like you pointed out, we do have 4 phases. And with each phase, there's a different star hormone. And each of these hormones has a different energetic need. A different need for nutrition, a different need for type of exercise, a different need for rest. Your hormones actually dictate your personality as well. As you get a little bit more grumpy right around your period, right before that time, a bit more chill during your ovulation window. You got more energy. They're all connected to your hormones.
So let's talk cycle then. So we've got our bleed, we've got no hormones. What's going on for women during that time and how should we be behaving?
Yeah, okay. So during your bleed, which is your menstrual phase, that's day 1 through day 6. That's the first phase of your cycle. So this is like your resetting.
What is good for women during that time?
Yeah. So this is a common misconception actually that we get with being on your period. Yes, the first 2 to 3 days can be more painful because some women experience really bad cramping, and that's because your uterus is contracting to push the blood out. So a lot of the time we find that day 1 to day 2 we want to chill. We don't really want to push ourselves really, really hard in the gym because it's painful. You just want to stay home, you're bloated. But after day 2, around day 2 or day 3, your estrogen is going to start building back up, and you'll find that you might feel more powerful and more energetic. And one time I actually hit one of my best PRs in the gym while I was on day 4 of my bleed. And I've been talking to other women about this too, and it's interesting. It's like not all women feel very low on their bleed. It's more so that week before you get your period. That's the most important week where you actually do need to chill. You should take more rest days. You should sleep 9 hours during your late luteal phase. That's what that's called. But when you're on your bleed, it's just important to listen to what your body needs. Towards the end of your period, like the end half of it, you can definitely train. You can still be a superhero, a superwoman, and be on your period. How many times have you done some boss shit while you're bleeding?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it makes you feel more badass, huh?
It does. It definitely does. It's that warrior kind of mentality.
Exactly.
And so the estrogen starts building at the bleed, at day 1. Once the bleed happens, it starts to build again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how long does that build for?
So it's building all the way up until you ovulate, your ovulation day. So that's going to be around day 15. Again, every woman is different. Okay, so your bleed's ending on day 6, day 5, day 6. Then that we're starting into something called our follicular phase. So the follicular phase, this can also be called your ovulation window. It's a week-long window, a week-ish, and this is when your body is getting ready to actually release that egg from the ovary. So this is when you're getting a surge of your hormones. You're going to feel really good. The day you get off your period, you're going to feel more collagen production in your skin, because that's what estrogen does. Estrogen helps like elasticity, and it helps your joints feel more like smooth, so you actually can perform better in the gym. It helps you have more energy. It makes you feel more powerful, you know? So during this follicular phase, the ovulation window, that's when we're really going to have the energy to like have hard conversations, to push harder in the gym, to hit those PRs, to do maybe a HIIT workout if you want to do that during this time.
Beautiful. And then ovulation happens.
Yep.
And then what's the next hormone that comes in?
So ovulation happens, that's on your ovulation day. This is the best time for you to get pregnant. If anyone is trying to get pregnant, you definitely want to try right before ovulation or on this day. And so after the ovulation day, that's when actually your hormones are going to start going back down. So estrogen is going to start dipping because your body is going to start preparing to build up progesterone. So progesterone is going to help us actually bring that egg that wasn't fertilized out of our body so that the cycle can start again. So when we are building up progesterone, our body needs more rest. Progesterone makes us feel more calm. Progesterone loves more glucose. Progesterone loves more complex carbohydrates. So when you are craving a croissant or a donut or whatever during your PMS, that's for a biological reason. Your body actually needs more carbs when you're building progesterone. It's not you being crazy, craving something. It's your progesterone, the energetic needs of progesterone in your body.
So funny, because that's where I'm at now. And I started losing weight that week, but I was eating more carbs and more sugar. I just find that fascinating.
Yeah. A piece of advice I could give you is when you are PMSing, give yourself whatever you're craving. Just have something that's high in carbohydrates. It's good for you, yeah? But in moderation. Don't make it too processed, but just lean into it. Don't beat yourself up with guilt and shame. I think so many women like have guilt around their cycles and not being able to perform, and it's like we don't need to have that guilt. That's what's keeping us stuck. That's what's making chronic disease, PCOS, endo more and more and more common. Because we're living in this patriarchal society that's telling us we need to do more, we need to do more. And no one has any awareness about like women's hormones. I didn't even know any of this stuff until I went through something that put me in the hospital that has made me learn this information because I had to, or else it was going to happen again, and who knows. I could have lost my ovary. I could have become infertile. If that keeps happening, like I could lose my ability to reproduce. A very extreme case, like don't get too scared. Like ovarian cyst ruptures are common, but it could lead to that, you know? And so it's really important that women, especially young women, if you're a mom or you know anyone that has a daughter, needs to know this information. It's really important, like cycle syncing is what we call it. Learning how to live with your cycle, with the rules of your cycle. It's just going to help you have more energy, just be a happier person and be able to achieve more in your life.
So in the luteal phase then, when everything is, the progesterone is peaking.
Right. Okay. So after ovulation window, we're hitting our luteal phase. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that phase, like we're slowing down, like you said.
Yep.
The sugar cravings and things like that. So what's happening hormonally during that? The progesterone's rising, estrogen's dropping?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then when does your period happen?
So your period's going to happen at the end of the luteal phase. So very interesting. The luteal phase is actually the longest phase of your cycle. If you think about it on like a monthly, like if you think about like a circle, you have day 1 here and day 30 around the end. The luteal phase basically starts at like day 20 to day 30.
Oh, wow.
It's like almost half of our cycle, which is why for half of the month, we actually as women, we get like 1 week where we're feeling really good, right? The other 3 weeks, we're like, we're dealing with shit. That's okay. But
and men get that fucking ovulation day every day.
Right, every day. And what really helps their bursts of testosterone is food. So hanger, men being hangry, that's a thing. That's actually a thing from their hormones. You feed them, they're fine. It's literally testosterone needing food. It helps their testosterone clock.
And with men, so how does the testosterone rebuild, and how is that different from men than women?
Honestly, I don't know much about the men's testosterone rebuilding, but it does get released in 24-hour bursts, where ours takes 30 days and has many different dips and waves than theirs does.
It's fascinating to me.
Ours is more complicated, but I'm not a man, so I don't know.
Yeah. But the crazy part about this is like, if you think about how we train and how we live, right? We live on like a 7-day cycle, I would say most people.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we're programmed Monday through Friday.
Right.
Is your work days. Then you get 2 days rest. Like how fucking ridiculous is that anyways, that's just the program.
Yeah.
Who decided that?
Exactly.
Right. And if we were living within that cycle, let's say we were like, oh, I'm on a 30-day work cycle. And during these days, I'm going to be really productive. Yes. And during these days, I'm going to need a little more rest. But because of that rest, I'm going to then be more productive.
Exactly. And you can get twice as much work done when you're ovulating, to be honest. Like, you are a weapon. That's those days when you wake up feeling energized. Like, you're like, I don't need more sleep. I feel good. That's probably because of where you're at in your cycle. The days when you're really, 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 really tired, like, I bet you you're in your luteal phase and you might not know it. Circling back to the luteal phase, though, the luteal phase is the longest phase. So the way I talk about this with women is that we have our early luteal phase and our late luteal phase. So it's about 2 weeks, a week and a half long, more so 2 weeks. So the early luteal phase is like the first week. You're not really going to feel that shitty yet. So you're not really experiencing the PMS symptoms. Another misconception I hear is people not really understanding what PMS is. PMS stands for pre-menstrual symptoms. And so that does not mean like during your bleed. It's actually like the week before your bleed. Wow. When you are feeling all these things, PMS, yeah? Like you're feeling your boobs might be sore, you're feeling like you have really bad fatigue, headache, migraines, acne. That's all because of the dip in your hormones. So mostly that PMS window is going to be the late luteal phase. Really important. The week before your period is the most important week for you to pay attention to as a woman.
Tell me more.
That's when your body needs love. Your body needs you to listen to her. She's telling you what she needs. So each symptom you're having, each pre-menstrual symptom you're having, is a message from your body saying, this is what I need.
Let's dive deeper into that.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the PMS things and what you would do to help women through that.
Yep. So if you're someone who is experiencing really, really, really bad cramps, like I had a friend who she was bedridden from her period. I think we all know someone like that. It's very common. Bedridden, you need to have the bottle of ibuprofen near you at all times. Like excruciating cramps. So that is not good, okay? That's not normal. And I know each woman's cycle is different, yes, but actually PMS is not something that you should have. Your period shouldn't be painful.
Yeah, let's say it louder for
your
the girls in the back.
Your period should not be painful. It shouldn't be painful.
It should be a celebration and a ceremony.
It should be a celebration and a ceremony. It doesn't mean that it's, not an inconvenience in a way. It might be an inconvenience to your life. However, if you are in pain during your period or you're feeling like you have one symptom that's very extreme, for example, you get very moody. For example, you get very bad bloating. For example, your boobs hurt really, really bad. This is a sign of what your hormones need.
Okay, so let's go through them.
Bad cramps means that your uterine is working very, very hard to contract. It means that your body needs something to help it not be squeezing so hard.
So
that's
it's
what
tense.
The cramping is. Yeah, your body's tense.
So you need to relax more.
There's nutritional needs that you need from that. I haven't memorized all those, but I just made a post about that. It's very informative. Yeah. A lot of the way that you can combat your PMS symptoms are with your nutrition, and with rest.
Simply.
With rest, okay? The best thing that I've done for my period, it used to be very painful. I used to have really, really bad cramps, and my boobs used to be really sore. The best thing I've done is stopped working out aggressively with heavy weights during the late luteal phase, so the week before my period. When progesterone is rising, your body's like, hey, I need a bit more rest. I need a bit more complex carbohydrates in order for me to be able to produce progesterone. Because me producing progesterone is already another energetic demand that I'm adding on top of whatever you're doing for the day. Like your body is doing more than whatever tasks you're doing. We have this cycle. It's always in the background working for us, but it's taxing energetically. So the hormones are telling us what different energetic demands we need, what foods we need, how much rest, yeah? So when progesterone's rising, we need more rest. This is a hard one to build. We need more carbs. Carbs are gonna help the progesterone get back up. Complex carbohydrates, so these are things like butternut squash, bananas, like quinoa, rice, sweet
potatoes.
potato, whole grains, yes, complex carbohydrates.
We're not talking cookies.
We're not talking
Rice
cookies,
Krispie treats,
because those are processed, so we want to stay away from those. However, if you're craving a muffin and you're about to get your period, girl, go have one, and don't beat yourself up about it. It'll make you feel so much better.
Yeah, just allowing yourself to like, and I think that what's really beautiful and what will really help here is that it's intuitive.
It's so intuitive.
And stop beating yourself up for those intuitive cravings.
That's actually a really great point. That's an amazing point, because this is intuitive. But the problem is, so many women have no idea that, one, their period, like the term your cycle doesn't mean your week of period. It is 30 days. This is intuitive. However, it's been taken away from our education in society. It's not our fault that we don't know this. No one taught us this. My mom didn't teach me this. My sex ed lady did not teach me this.
He just said, don't get herpes, don't get HIV.
Right.
It was like, don't
but
have
also,
sex.
Like, they didn't know either. And that's what I find it's rewarding, but also it's so needed. There is such like a gap in the fitness industry for this, because not a lot of people know about this. I had to work to learn this information. I mean, it's out there, guys. If you want to learn anything, you go on YouTube and you can teach yourself a skill for free these days. But like, educating myself about my own body, that took a long time. Like, even about my vagina, there's things that I didn't know for so long, because no one teaches you that. I knew more about a man's body probably than I knew about my own, because we're so complicated.
It's a wild thing, because I think most people are so disconnected from their bodies anyways, because we're so stuck in the mind. Like, we've been programmed in a society of do, achieve, and that keeps us scared about what's going to happen in the future and obsessing about the past or whatever it is. Right. So most people are spending their life anxious in the future, trying to figure things out, or stuck, depressed, and hollow because they're holding on to the past. And if we can't get back into the body, we can't even intuitively hear her.
Exactly.
It's like, I remember when I first had one of my chiropractor adjustments, she was like, you don't feel this in your body? I'm like, no, because I was so disconnected from it back then, And then now I can tell if something's out like that,
I love the chiropractor.
Oh, it's the best.
That's the best.
But we have not been taught to listen to our bodies and our womb.
Especially as women.
And it's like our womb, it's like something, it's like, oh my God, you have your period, ew.
Right.
It's like, can we start to see that, like, if men could understand how to help us during these times and we could learn how to communicate our needs, what a different world we would be in, where we didn't just we weren't just expected to perform all the time, because it is going to be different every day.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like we as women are constantly at war with our bodies. Maybe we don't even realize it consciously, but subconsciously not being able to listen to our body. And every time, we go and we have that piece of pizza, we beat ourselves up. We're like, not gonna, the scale is gonna be higher in the morning. It's like, maybe that's just what your body needed for your hormones,
Yeah.
But it's like, how would you know this if no one taught you it?
So, well, in the fitness industry, right, what do you see that's going wrong?
I see a blanket approach being applied. I see one macronutrient goal, overarching macronutrient goal, being applied.
And what when you talk about macronutrients, can you explain that a little bit?
Right, okay. So if you were to hire like a traditional fitness coach, I'd have a friend who just went through this actually. And she put her on this set of macros. So like a protein goal, a fat goal, and a carbohydrate goal with a certain calorie goal, right? And she assigned her this goal, and I was like, please do not listen to whatever this lady's giving you. And they assign you a goal, and it's the same goal daily for like 8 weeks or whatever. Yeah, but we have different nutritional needs all throughout our 30-day, so our month-long cycle. During our luteal phase, we need on average 297 more calories than in our follicular and on our bleed. The study was actually just done about that. Finally, someone was able to quantify that. That instinctual feeling we have that, I'm so hungry before my period. I feel like I could eat a whole pizza. You can. You actually need more calories during that time. Your body's working harder. It takes a lot of energy to clear an egg out of you and get a new egg ready to be released. That takes a lot. You need extra energy going in.
Which is calories in,
yeah,
right? So if you're on a calorie cut and then you're withholding the calories from your body that are actually needed for your cycle, what can happen?
So if you're not giving your body enough calories over a long sustained period of time, you can lose your cycle. This happens a lot in the bodybuilding world. Girls who go on prep. Prep is when you are right about to go onto stage. So your lowest calorie level. Also, they drop your fats down very, very low. And a lot of the girls lose their cycle and they struggle to get it back. And this is partially because of the carbs and the fat content being so low. Fats help your body produce hormones. Very, very important. Very important for your brain as well. Very important for you to help absorb vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D. You need fat in your diet, okay? So if anyone tracks their macros, if you're tracking your macros right now and someone has assigned you a macronutrient goal, I never ever want you as a woman to go below 40 grams of fat. Ever. A day. You need more. I eat 65 grams of fat a day.
Wow.
Yes, and
that doesn't change depending on the phase?
For fats, you can keep them very high. You want to have healthy fats is key. Healthy fats are very, very key for building your hormones. If you're someone who's struggling hormonally, you feel like your hormones are out of balance, you want to lean into the healthy fats.
What are those? Like avocado, ghee?
Yep, avocado, ghee, salmon, flax seeds, things with omega-3s in them. Things like that. So things that coconut oil is a great one, MCT oil. I always use coconut oil to cook. You want to stay away from saturated fats, so that's going to be fried food. Fat, when you think of fat, the unhealthy fats, those are the ones you want to stay away from. Yeah.
Okay.
So that fat's very important for helping you build your hormones back up, especially during the luteal phase. You want to lean into the fats during this time. There's also another little point when you are ovulating, that day of ovulation, when the egg is actually leaving the ovary. That's actually a very energetically taxing day as well. So during that 3-day window, you can actually play around with eating a bit more carbs during this time again. So when you're in the beginning on your bleed / the follicular phase leading up to ovulation, basically the first 2 weeks of your cycle, this is a great time to hit the low carb situation. If you want to drop your carbs down, it's kind of like the way I teach cycle syncing, it's almost like we're carb cycling. So the amount of carbohydrates we're going to play with during the month.
But the fat stays consistent.
The fat I would keep high.
And protein consistent.
The protein, you want 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, always. Always. If you're trying to build muscle, yeah. If you're not really too concerned with building muscle, you can drop the protein down a little bit.
But protein, why is protein so important?
Okay, protein is really, really important for a lot of different reasons. If we want to build muscle, protein is the building blocks for protein synthesis. So every time we work out at the gym and we're trying to grow our booty, right? And we're hitting our hip thrusts really hard and we're feeling that soreness in our muscle fibers the next day. This is because we had little tears in our muscle fibers. Yes, because we really were pushing them during the workout. So those little tears need to be repaired and rebuilt. So every time they're repaired and rebuilt, they rebuild them a little bit stronger, a little bit bigger. And protein is the thing that builds them. So we need to eat more protein. But protein actually keeps us fuller longer. Protein helps us balance our blood sugar. Protein helps us sustain a good metabolic function. So the more muscle you have on your body, actually your metabolism burns more calories throughout the day.
Now, what about how people say, if you're lifting weights and you're eating protein, you're going to bulk up? Is that true? Debunk that for me.
I mean, you're not going to turn into a man. You want to build curves on your body, you need to eat protein. If you want the Pilates body, really skinny body, you don't need to be eating a bunch of protein and having creatine every day. But if you're someone who wants, the BBL, but without the BBL, you have to eat the protein and don't be scared of food.
And what about creatine? Tell me about that.
So creatine, I'm give or take on creatine. I personally feel the more that you can get from your diet,
the better.
Without having to supplement, the better. Because at the end of the day, I'm very much an advocate for unprocessed foods. I believe that you can get most of what you need from your diet, unless you are vegan, which I used to be vegan for a long time. But creatine itself, protein powder, these are all processed things. So we actually can get creatine from our diet, but not in the quantity that you would get from supplementing it. But a lot of people do find great results from creatine. It helps you build muscle. It helps you perform better, helps you feel stronger in your lifts if you're consistent with it. For me, it makes me feel a little bit nauseous, but you don't have to take creatine to build muscle. I know many people who have amazing physiques who literally do not supplement anything.
This really piggybacks to my next question then. So typically when you're doing a lifting cycle, or so I trained in college, you're on a 4-week lift, right? And it builds over the 4 weeks.
Yep.
And it's like, the first, it's like, you're going 80% and you're adding a little bit of weight each week. Now, how does that contradict the cycle for women?
Yeah.
And help me with that.
Perfect. So this is the way that I coach people differently. So, our fitness cycles are going to be matched with our hormonal cycles. So our 30-day menstrual cycle can be mirrored with what type of fitness we want to be doing. So during the first week of our cycle and then that second week, we can hit the weights hard. We can start ramping up the weight. The ovulation week, we can aim for PRs on this week. We can do the cardio. We can do a bit lower carbs. We're going to be feeling good. The scale's going to be down during this time. So at around week 3, when we start entering our luteal phase, we can maybe pull back a bit and just do a bit less weight. Week 4, on our luteal phase, we're going to take away maybe 2 sessions, maybe only go for twice a week instead of 4 times a week, and rest more. And then on your period, the next cycle, we can repeat this again. But it's all about giving your body rest when you need it, not pushing harder, not telling yourself, oh, I'm lazy because I'm tired today, or oh, I'm going to lose all my progress because I can't train glutes today, or I feel so weak, why can't I hit 50 kilos today when I did 60 last week? It's literally because of your hormones. And next week, during your ovulation window or during your follicular phase, you will be able to hit 60, maybe even 65, if you allow your body rest.
And let's talk about that. So what happens when we don't let our body rest during the luteal phase, and what are the symptoms and signs of that people may be experiencing that don't even know it?
So if you're someone who has the weight, like the scale will not budge, this is what I call weight loss resistance. You were talking to me about this before.
Hi, I'm your number one client here.
A lot of women come to me and they say, I am doing everything and I cannot lose fat. And I'm like, I know that because I've been there. Like, you're doing too much and your body's fighting itself. Remember how I told you that in the background, your body's working and doing this cycle? It's drawing energy from your battery. Your energetic battery is going towards your body's doing the cycle with the egg. We're only fertile for until we're in our 40s. So it's during this time that your body's like, I'm trying to get you pregnant so we can reproduce. So it's doing this cycle, it's taking energy from you. Without you realizing it, if we don't pay attention to it, we don't understand why we're feeling drained. When our body's constantly fighting itself, your body then goes into the state of, I'm not getting what I need. There must be something going on outside, some outside stressor that's putting me into this mode. Your body can't tell if you're being chased by a murderer with a gun at your head, or if it's you working out for 5 days in a row and not sleeping and partying after and eating like shit. Those two things are going to raise your cortisol, arguably, in the same way.
That's fascinating. So tell me more about that. So cortisol, when does that get released?
So cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol is not bad. I think a lot of people think, oh my God, my cortisol is really high. Cortisol is there to protect you. Cortisol is good. Cortisol is a response hormone. So it's released when you have to have good stress or bad stress. But when we have too much bad stress, that's the problem. When our cortisol is constantly getting spiked, your body does not know the difference between if you're actually in danger or if you're just doing things where this is your physiological response and your body's having to fix it on the inside. So cortisol is there to help your body go back into homeostasis. Homeostasis just means it's the neutral playing field. It's where your body likes to chill. So, when you have your AC on auto, and it clicks on, it'll turn the room when it gets too hot, it brings it back down. That's what homeostasis is. So cortisol is there to let your body know, hey, there's a stressor going on. I'm releasing this hormone to signal for a different process in my body to be released to bring me back down. So stress, for example, stress sweating is going to help regulate your system, bring the cortisol back down.
Okay.
So when our cortisol is constantly really, 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 really high, this is not great for insulin, for blood sugar. It's not great for your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are what releases cortisol. I actually had adrenal fatigue, something I'm working through right now, because my cortisol was so high. Your adrenals can't tell anymore that they're over releasing. It's you've done it too many times, girl, and now we just can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, because I think what's really interesting in this whole thing is it's we are aware of what's going on. The body is automatically doing these things that it's
helping
biologically
us.
supposed to do. And we
it's
think
our
that
friend.
it's not our enemy. It's not like, oh, my cortisol's spiking, let me outwork it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, my cortisol is spiking because my body feels stressed. Can I listen to that? Take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, really interesting because I feel like the way that society has programmed us is to work hard no matter what, show up, perform, achieve. So it's really hard to say to somebody, hey, you're not losing weight because you're working out too much.
Right.
And you're like, wait.
I was like, I literally resisted that for so years. I was like, stop telling me that. I got it. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up in the hospital. So it's a very dramatic example of what can happen. But for real, I mean, you might not end up in the hospital, but you might really not be losing weight. You might actually gain weight.
I was gaining weight.
Exactly.
I decreased my calories. I was tracking my macros, weighing in every day, drinking 3 liters of water, tracking my sleep, getting 10,000 steps. And the scale was like nothing was happening. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because when somebody introduced HRV to me, I started to kind of track my stress response. Mm-hmm. And that was really helpful for me because if my HRV is below 50, I actually won't go to the gym now.
Nice.
Because that's showing me that I'm in burnout and I need to rest. I'll go for a walk.
Right. Exactly.
And listening to that. And
Low
I think it's like,
impact
I don't really
exercise.
I used to hate these fitness watches because I'm like,
you fixate on it.
But it's really helped me understand that there is a scientific measurement and a scientific biological process going on. I'm not just unworthy of losing weight, and I'm not just a bad eater and my body doesn't suck and all of the things I've told myself, oh, my body doesn't work, I can't lose weight. It's like, you know what? I haven't been listening to her at all.
Exactly. And that's another great point that you're bringing up about, the fitness watches and tracking everything to the point, to the T, and like, yes, tracking our metrics is valuable. Science is so valuable to us. Data points valuable. They give us something to measure. However, when we're fixating on it mentally, that's energy going towards that. And you're thinking about that, stressing you out a little bit. Your body actually isn't feeling safe. The cortisol is rising. Your body doesn't know. I'm not being chased by a murderer. I'm putting psychological stress on myself, but your body doesn't feel safe to say, hey, it's safe for you to lose weight right now.
And let's talk about what weight actually is, right?
We should be saying fat, not weight.
But fat,
right.
We store fat in order to protect us from famine, from starvation, from war. And we have to remember, it hasn't been that long that the world hasn't been at war. I mean, we're still at war in certain places, but our bodies have adapted genetically and have evolved because of wars and starvations and famines and all of these things.
Yes.
And so now it's like, I love saying, my body, I'm going to war with it, and my body can't tell that war is different than me going in to a place where I'm not going to eat for 2 weeks. It doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Because my body doesn't have a mind. It's like automatically doing the things it needs to do.
Your body and your mind, it's a great point, need to be on the same page. And interestingly, a lot of women come to me and they're like, I have lower abdomen fat, like that lower belly fat. I just don't want the lower belly fat. I feel that I struggle with that area too. But I want to let everyone know that anatomically, we have lower abdomen fat protecting our vital organs, protecting our organ, which is going to be our uterus down there. There's a reason that we have fat in our lower abdomen. And I need everyone to understand that, who's a woman, who is putting their body and they're body shaming themselves about their pooch. That she's there to protect you. Please understand that. And also, I will say that another reason you might have lower abdomen fat is because excess estrogen built up in your body manifests in the lower abdomen, as well as lots of cortisol.
So talk about excess estrogen. Why would that happen?
Right. Okay. So when we are doing our 30-day cycle and our hormones are rising, dipping, progesterone's up and down, at the end of our cycle, not only are we releasing the egg and all of the blood and the menses out from our, we're also clearing the excess hormones that were released during that time. So each cycle, your body's going to create a whole new level, a whole new surge of hormones. But the excess hormones need to be effectively released each month. If they're not, and they still get stored in your body somewhere. If your body can't clear them effectively, why would they not be able to clear them effectively? Because you're not having good detox pathways. You know, you have chronic inflammation, you have cellular inflammation, your lymphatic system isn't draining well, you have hormone imbalances. The excess hormone can get stored in your cells. When it comes to estrogen, girls who have lots of stress, you and I probably have problems with our estrogen, that gets stored in our lower abdomen. There's actually a study that was just recently published about that the cortisol belly is what it's called, actually.
That's crazy. And yes. I'm wondering if that's what happens with women with breast cancer as well. You know, if that can be, you know, talking later stage, if we are so imbalanced in that, if that could be something 100%. Causing breast cancer, has to be.
It's definitely all related. Like the amount of PCOS and endometriosis cases these days are going through the roof, and it's just rising each year. And also the age which girls get their period is getting lower and lower. The age of menopause is getting lower and lower.
Yeah, and let's add another layer to that. So, you know, with womb clearing that I do, the womb energy work, right? So we talk about you got to have the mind and body in alignment.
Do you do that during the period?
No.
What?
No, but the mind and body need to be aligned, right? In order for you to be present. Otherwise, you're not here. If you're not in the body, you're not present. And if you're not present, you cannot connect with your soul. Right. So a lot of people that come in, they're like, oh, I want this. I'm like, well, we need to get in the body first. And they don't feel safe to get in the body. And it takes time because there's emotional process all held in the hips too.
Yes.
Because you have to understand that in our hips, we hold any body shame, any physical abuse, anything that's put us in survival. We also have emotional imprints that are keeping us from wanting to actually feel the emotions that need to be released from bringing us back into the body. So typically for me, it's what I'm kind of interested in understanding is if we could combine that emotional healing with cycle regulation in the physical at the same time, what that would be for like liberating a woman, right? Because it's so multifaceted here. And so many of us are carrying ancestral pain and shame because we were in our grandmother's womb with our mom. So we experienced her whole life.
Wow, that's crazy to think about that like that.
We experienced your mother's whole life.
We were.
We chose her before.
I was in my grandma's womb.
So it's crazy to think that. So anything that they went through, the famines, the wars, all of those things, we were there. Our soul was already in that egg that was there physically.
Yes.
So what a weird and crazy phenomenon that, you know, we're so disconnected from our bodies. We've got all these things going on, but then in reconnecting with it and then working with the cycle, we can become unstoppable.
Absolutely. I'm curious, after you do an energy clearing with someone's womb space, my prediction is that, like on a scientific level, that their period would be heavier after that.
Black blood.
Interesting.
Black, dark, heavy blood, but I'm clearing endometriosis. I've had several people come to me with that, gone after the emotional stuff is purged through because the reason that the body is tight is trauma. Because when our body is not safe and we've been entered by anything, whether it was a finger, a penis, anything without consent, the yoni has a lot of things that are going on to open up, to be welcoming in that insertion, right? It's not just, oh, I want to stick my dick in there. There's a lot of work that has to be done to open. Yes. And like in pleasure that we're so disconnected from even feeling in our bodies. Most women don't even know how to climax or orgasm. So you want to talk about that. Then what happens is if you've been entered before your body was physically welcoming that, and that's about feeling safe. Again, feeling loved, feeling like you can open into that. Your body holds and contracts, and then all of that friction is all trauma inside the yoni. So I have to actually physically go inside and move the trauma before I can clear the womb because it's internally held. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's really interesting to think about the deeper layers here with how I could support them.
Mixing science
with the spirituality to bring it. Yeah, because there's
Very
a
powerful.
lot. Yeah, that's fascinating. Really am interested about your 77-day program. So guys, I know so many people are obsessed with 75-day hard.
You've all heard of 75-day hard challenge.
We're moving away from that for women, and tell me why.
Okay, so 75-day hard challenge. I was going to do this challenge, however, I was reading through it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, wait a minute. Something about this isn't what I would feel would get women the best results, because the 75-day hard challenge is a day, you have daily tasks. It's like 2 workouts a day, 1 outside, then one inside, read 10 pages a day. But it's every single day for 75 days straight. And I'm like, so I'm looking it up. And I'm like, who created this challenge? I don't remember his name, but it was a man, okay? And I understand that it is a mental challenge. Like, consistency is very mentally challenging. However, if we're doing a fitness challenge for women, asking them to show up for 75 days straight, doing 2 workouts a day, is going to literally burn you so hard into the ground. You might lose weight, but then you're going to gain it back, and you're going to develop that weight loss resistance that you were talking about. That's so annoying. You're going to be very angry, and you potentially could lose your cycle. So I've created, after reading that and thinking, this is actually not healthy for women. For men, yeah, you guys can thrive doing that. Us, not so much. So I created the 77-day hard challenge, because 75 days is it's two months and half of a week. And I was like, let's do 77 days so that we have 11 full weeks to work with women. So that's 2.5 months. That's 2.5 cycles that we get through. So for 77 days, there's a set of 11 rules, 11 weeks, 11 rules that you follow. And I'm teaching you how to do a little mini gut detox, how to cycle sync your workouts with your cycle, what phases of the workouts, what kind of workouts you should be doing at what times of the month, and also what foods to be eating at which time of the month. And this combined together with, showing up every day for yourself, doing 10 to 20 minutes of a self-help book or an online course, doing this for 77 days straight, but we do it on a weekly basis. That is how, it's like a mini approach to how we actually train for our hormones, using our cycle as a guide. Your cycle is specific to you, and that's your unique, I call it a metabolic map. It's your unique metabolic map. Mine's different than yours, but we all have one. We just need help figuring out what it is. We have to listen to our body, but it's there, and it tells you exactly what it needs and at what time, what kind of foods it needs, how much sleep it needs, when is a great time to work out, your cycle. So I thought 77 days hard for her would be a great opportunity for women to come learn what it is like to work with me, learn what it means to show up for 11 weeks straight, and learn what results you can get from listening to your body.
Yeah, and I think a beautiful thing about this, again, for people listening, is we're talking about intuitively listening, and that's a very feminine thing to do when you're talking about energy, right? Masculine is, I do this, I show up, I work hard, and it's push, 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 push. Now, the feminine is, I receive, I'm intuitive, I know. It's a much more receptive energy. And the problem is, I think we keep trying to be one or the other. And what you see is, these burnt out, crazy competitive, control freak women that don't need no man, the feminists. So, it's too much, right? Then you got airy fairy floaty girls that just want to show their body on OnlyFans and they don't want to pay for anything. And it's why are we so extreme?
Yeah.
It's why can't we meet in the middle where we intuitively listen to our bodies with discipline? Taking action each day,
yes,
but in balance with what we need.
Correct.
Not what we're told to do. And it's I don't think it seems like it's not rocket science, but it's probably so hard to break down the resistance of the program. So how do you help people with that?
Well, balance is a very, very key thing in the way that I approach my life, the way that I approach customers, clients, the way that I approach fitness in general is, I did the party girl phase, but I've also done the extreme bodybuilding competition prep phase. And each one left me feeling like I was missing something. I felt like I was missing purpose when I was just partying a lot. I didn't feel like I was living up to my true self. And when I was all the way on the other end and I was just head down hustling every day, depriving myself socially, I felt like I was missing community and connection. And it's you don't need to do both extremes. The all or nothing mindset isn't sustainable. If you prefer to live one way in a certain way, that's fine, but you need to figure out where that happy medium is for you. And by actually creating balance in your life, you're gonna get more done. It's the same thing with your cycle. If you're doing the all or nothing thing where you're sticking to that same macros for the whole month, and it's the extreme of not giving yourself that flow. Your hormones are flowing for 30 days. So you need to flow with that energy too. It's a bit of a balancing act. But the more that we can literally come back to yourself and ask yourself what is right for me. No coach can actually tell you what is right for your body, because your body is different. Your body is uniquely you. Like, you might know something about your body that your coach could never know, but your body's telling you, and the only one that's going to hear it is you. But you got to listen to it. And so creating balance within your routine, giving yourself flexibility and freedom to rest when you need, but also still wanting to work hard and show up. That's half of it, is just showing up. Like, you still need action to manifest. You cannot just manifest with words. You still need to put the action in. If you're trying to manifest those big goals, those big body transformations, you got to put the work in, but you can't overdo it. You can't overdo it, because that's going to cook you on the inside. It's just hurting you in the long term.
What are the things that we should be tracking as women?
I love this question. Okay, so things that I want you to pay attention to is definitely, I want you to be mindful of your protein intake. So each meal that you have, I just want you to have at least 30 grams of protein, or if you're looking at your plate, 1/3 of your plate should be a lean protein source. I'd also very much want you tracking your cycle. If I said, hey, Chelsea, what day of your cycle are you on right now?
Probably day 20 or 21.
Day 20 or 21. Hey, that's a good answer. Because some women, you might ask them and they'll say, what? I'm not on my period. I'm like, that's not what I'm asking. But you need to be aware of what day of your cycle you're on. This is going to help you plan your week, plan your fitness stuff, plan your social events, plan your social calendars. If you have a hard work week, if you have a work week that's demanding creativity, this is probably best to do during your ovulation phase, because you're feeling like you have more energy to do more. The more chill tasks where you don't need so much mental energy, better for your luteal phase. So protein, tracking your cycle. And then when it comes to your workouts and everything, you don't have to have a step count. You don't need to have an Apple Watch. But I do encourage you being mindful of moving your body at least once a day, whether that's, walking every day. I think is a great way to regulate your nervous system, to get vitamin D outside. So it's good for you going on walk. It's a low impact activity. Great for balancing hormones as well. But still hitting your workouts like on a weekly basis. So say I'm going to hit the gym 3 times this week. I'm going to try to walk for 30 minutes every day. Don't take things too crazy, and just have like that flexibility. You don't have to say Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday I'm doing that, Wednesday rest, Thursday this. You can just have like a weekly approach. This is what I do now, and it has honestly like made such a difference. I incorporate Pilates more. I strength train less. I'm like training with lighter weight and less frequency, and I'm actually seeing more muscle being built, which is crazy. I swear it works though. Like, it really does work. When you allow your body to repair more, you're putting it in that repair more mode, you're actually gonna see your muscles responding. Like, my muscles look amazing right now, and it's because I'm giving myself literally more food and more rest. So
it's so funny. And I think a lot of people that are restricting their diets and that are on this massive calorie deficit. And I know most people do the yo-yo diets, right? Where it's like, I'm all in and
I used
then
to
I'm
do
all
that.
out.
I did that for years.
And it's like, it's all about having a flexible metabolic system and a flexible nervous system too, because it's okay to put yourself in stress, but understand that when we go into stress, right? We're going into that polar field of stress. We then need to come into rest and digest so that the parasympathetic nervous system can come back on. Right. It's not that we avoid stress. And it's not that we only rest, it's balance and flexibility, right? Yeah. But if we're constantly, I feel like what we see in society is we see everyone in fight or flight or everyone stuck in freeze. Right. And it's like,
there's people who will tell you, there's coaches that will tell you, you need to do more, you need to do more. There's coaches that will tell you, do less, you know what I mean? Like,
but do they even really know? How about you ask your body, what do I need today?
Right.
Yeah, it comes down to, in Reiki, when I teach it, we have this prayer, and it's like really, really simple. But if everyone did it every morning, it would really help. It's just what is our prayer? It's just for today, I release anger. Ooh. Just for today, I release
anger.
Yeah. And that's the masculine.
I already feel so much better after saying that.
And then just for today, I release worry.
Just for today, I release worry.
Just for today, I work hard on what I need.
Just for today, I work hard on what I need.
And I always check in with my body during that. Like, where am I at? Just for today, I am grateful.
Just for today, I am grateful.
And just think about 5 things you're grateful for.
Yes.
And then from that place, I can come into neutrality of, now just for today, I can be kind. And it's like coming from that place. But I feel like if everybody could just take a second in the morning rather than being like, oh, I'm working on my schedule and I have all these things to do. Just for today, what do I need? What does my body need today? Do I feel like I need more rest, and can I allow that? Are there things on my calendar that can shift?
Right.
Like even moving this podcast, I got sick and I was like, oh my God, I have to cancel this podcast. Yeah. And it's like, if I cancel this podcast, I'm going to fail. I'm going to, all these things happen. But I love what you said to me when you said, if you're sick, it's a sign your body needs rest.
Exactly. Can I put my ego down? Can I quiet my ego and listen to what my body is telling me? That no, I'm not a failure if I don't show up to this podcast because I was vomiting 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Why is it always more is more is more? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating. So I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be asking me, how on earth can they find this information and work with you? So tell me what's coming up.
Yeah, so I'm going to be launching the 77-day hard challenge in about 3 weeks. So if you'd like to join that, Chelsea, I would actually love to have you join.
Yeah, I would love to.
Doing it as well, so it'll be a live challenge. You can find that through my Instagram. It's just Monique M. Burton. Chelsea will put it down there. But it's free to sign up. And it's 77 days. You go at your own pace. All the information is up on my Insta. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. Lots of learning potential for everyone. And you get to see the style of fitness that I teach. But also you're going to see your body change in ways that you probably didn't think were achievable at this point. You might have given up. I have people who are on the brink of giving up. That's the kind of the type of clients that I attract, where I'm like, no, please don't. Like, you're almost there. But we just need to change this one thing, which is listening to your hormones.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that.
Me too.
And if people want...
It's so good. Like, I feel so much better as a human being after listening to my hormones. Like, literally, it changed my entire aura, I feel.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And what's your ideal client? So if people were looking to work with you, like, what's the perfect client for you?
I mean, perfect client for me would be someone who wants to show up and work hard and is ready to commit to actually listening to their body and putting the ego down and saying, hey, like inviting the idea that maybe you are doing a little too much. Maybe we're eating a little too much processed foods. Is definitely trying to build muscle in the gym, but also is more in tune with the holistic side, or wants a holistic approach to fitness. So we talk about nutrition. I focus on not processed foods. We focus on putting you through a little gut detox, trying to get your body metabolically healthy so that your metabolism is burning the fat for you, which, by the way, that's what it should be doing. So if we are overweight, this is actually a sign that something is wrong within us. And a woman who is ready to become the most powerful version of herself through listening to her hormones and giving her hormones what she needs.
I'm obsessed. Thank you so much. I really feel like this is going to help so many people, and really keep sharing that message because people need to hear it more. It's too much restriction, not enough balance. And this was amazing. So thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today with Monique and exploring the incredible power of women's bodies and hormones. Remember, honoring your cycle isn't just about biology. It's a pathway to reclaiming your energy, creativity, and balance in life. And if this conversation inspired you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And be sure to like or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes diving into all the ways we can liberate our bliss. So until next time, be gentle with yourself and keep honoring your beautiful cyclical nature.